And one of the things that I've loved about doing this free guide with you is it's re-presenced me, and I've picked up a lot of great tools. And, you know, there was a lot of research that we put into this. And this stuff, look, it's not rocket science, but the reality is we don't do it. And before you go to the second one, the reason we don't do it, I think, is something I just want to mention, especially in America, but in the West, we have this concept that when we are so exhausted or working all the time, we become some kind of hero, you know, to our colleagues. And this speaks to the retreat that we're doing in September, which is, you know, you're expected to be on 24/7, you know, handling the family, handling, you know, the pets, the parents, the kids, the relationships, and yet you're exhausted and you're expected to be a top performer in everything you do. And we wear this, I call it the burnout badge. You know, we wear it right here and we, you know, shine it all for everyone. How was your week? Oh, man, I'm so exhausted. You know, I mean, how often do we presence that to each other? So that's another good reason to go get this guide. And just to be mindful of that. We've been culturally taught to be that way. You know, that's another thing that that's been indoctrinated into our neural pathways.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that a lot. I have a good friend and colleague who is a single parent, a man, business consultant, speaker, raised 2 kids on his own. And what he figured out over the years was that one of his indexes of success was how exhausted he was by time his head hit the pillow. It's like, I knew I did a bunch of great stuff and got things done, you know, when I was exhausted at the end of the day. I was like, yikes, you know, that's
yeah.
Nothing wrong with working hard and getting a good night's sleep and really nourishing yourself in that way. But if that's your index of success, I think it's really, really important to check in on that.
Yeah. And, you know, there's exhaustion from, now this is funny. There's exhaustion also from things like hiking. I went hiking all day, or I went snowmobiling all day, or skiing. And that's a decidedly different kind of exhaustion, because I always find there's a contentment, right? There's a deep contentment when I've worked my body and been particularly outside in nature. Actually, all 3 of those things have to do with that. And when I am exhausted from working in my office all day, I feel dull. I have sometimes a dull headache. My body can hurt because I've sat at my desk. It's a totally different kind of exhaustion and not satisfying.
Right. And I appreciate you saying that. And I also want to make a distinction for everybody who's watching or listening now, is that I think that exhaustion really comes from that misuse of energy and that misfocus, right? Because, you know, the days that we are in the flow, in the zone, you know, in the place of our highest service, you know, when we're not running around chasing after distractions, you know, that can be an amazing day at the office or the proverbial office, right? So we don't want to give the impression to anyone that there's anything wrong with the mental activity and that only physical exhaustion is the way to go. No, I think it's focused exhaustion maybe is the term that I want to make up right now.
I think you're right on the money with that.
That real satisfaction of you know, I put in the work today, you know, from my heart with a good amount of presence. Sure, and you touched upon it just a couple of minutes ago, a couple sentences ago, is take a nature break. And if you caught us on our first masterclass, we went into a little bit more depth about this, and take a nature break and actually step outside into the wilderness, into the woods, and at the very least, take a nature break in your mind. You know, close your eyes, imagine yourself in a, you know, beautiful, nourishing, natural place, or pull up a video on YouTube and look at and listen to nature. I know, Christine, you have done some wonderful videos where you guide people in nature breaks for when they're in the office and they literally can't step out, and giving us all the opportunity to come back to what we're doing with a fresh and clear mind.
Yeah, doing custom meditations is one of my favorite things. So thanks for mentioning that. And I also have a great meditation that you can only get when you join my email list, which is not today. Oh, actually, if you get the guide, you will join the email list. It's called Calm in Any Storm. And it's a 20-minute meditation that really presences you to being, that stability and that calm in the eye of a hurricane. So that's another great thing to mention. All right. So yeah, so take a virtual nature break. It can be as simple as 3 breaths and literally taking yourself back to maybe a favorite vacation, walking in the woods, and you can also, if you're fortunate and you have, like me, we tried to get outside today, but we couldn't get Zoom to work on my phone. I'm looking at the woods right now and a creek and mountains. But we have backyards, we have courtyards, we have gardens, we have city parks. So take a walk, take a break, clear your head. And when you do that, it reboots your nervous system, reboots your breath, it reboots your mind, and guaranteed it'll make you more productive when you come back to your next task.
Yeah, beautiful.